Hello everyone. So today we'll start with our first chapter, which is the chapter number 16, as it is the chapter of last in your textbook, which is environmental issues. So as you all know, nowadays human population size has grown enormously over the last 100 years, right? So due to this, the demand also increases. Demand of what? So the demand of food, water, home, electricity, roads, automobiles, etc. Right? So because of this high demand, obviously pressure generates on the natural resources, and because of this pollution can occur. So here in this chapter we'll discuss about the issues which is caused by the environmental problems. Okay, in that the very first word came into our mind, which is pollution, by which we can understand that how this harmful to us, harmful to our human health, as well as how it is harmful to the environment, nature also, right? Nature means like all the living beings, as animals also, birds also, the plants also, everything get polluted because of this environmental issues. So here in this chapter we'll talk about the how this environmental problems occurs, then the next, if it occurs, then what we can do to prevent this, and the last portion is if we cannot prevent this, then what will happen as a harmful effect. Like one example we can say the greenhouse effect. So that we will understand later in this chapter, but right now first of all we understand the terms, right? So first term is the pollution. Okay, so now what we can say about the pollution if we want to describe in the definition form. So here it is any undesirable change in physical, chemical or biological characteristics of air, land, water, or we can say soil. Now the undesirable change, what does it mean? So there are many changes occurs in everyday life which are desirable also, which are beneficial to us also. So in that case we cannot call them pollution, right? So any undesirable change means unfavorable conditions, उसको हम क्या बोलेंगे? Pollution. Okay, now it can be any like physical, chemical and biological. So what we can do in these three cases? So first of all we understand what are these three cases, right? So first of all physical. अब उसमें क्या include हो सकता है? So physical में we can include the matters like particulate matters which goes to the environment and affect them as a harmful issues, right? So जिसकी वजह से environment में क्या होता है? Pollution होता है, like particulate matters which are solid in state. Then the chemicals. Now in the case of chemicals we can give the examples of fertilizers, like by the mixing with the water they can cause the pollution also. Then after the fertilizer what we can add? After this we can add some dyes, like some factories which are worked on the clothes, they use some chemical yani dyes also. So this can be included in the chemical state. Then the biological, as you all know, like bacteria and viruses. Even now also we are facing some pandemics like COVID-19. This is also one kind of biological pollution only, right? So in this case all three of them can cause the pollution, but by which means? By undesirable change. Okay, so now अब ये cause कौन करता है pollution, जिसको हम क्या बोलेंगे? So here it is, agents that bring about such an undesirable change are called as pollutants. Okay, so pollutants also can be any like matter also, gases also, it can be polluted water also, like microbes also. So we can do it as a biological issues, right? Okay, so now what our government do is they to control environmental pollution, the government of India has passed the Environment Protection Act 1986. For what? So for the prevention of the pollution, and to protect and improve the quality of our environment by air, water and soil in all three cases. Okay, so this is the kind of introduction about this chapter. As you all understand now what is the meaning of pollution, what are the pollutants, and which are the laws by which our government protects our environment, right? This is one of them. In later portion you will get to know about other laws also. This is one of them, right? Okay, now the very first topic of this chapter is air pollution and its control. Okay, now how we can control this pollution, especially air pollution? So first of all, how it causes, right? So air pollutant cause injury to all living organism, as we all know. As this microbes, this polluted matters goes to our respiratory system, they will reach to the lungs. Obviously first infected organ is our lungs only by the air. So this pollutants goes to our lungs, and especially into the lungs they goes to the air sac, where they reach and occupy the space which meant for the air. अब क्या होगा, जहाँ पे एयर फिल होनी चाहिए वहाँ पे क्या हो रहा है, ये पार्टिकुलेट मैटर से वो फिल हो रहे हैं. देन व्हाट विल हैपन नेक्स्ट टू इट? So air cannot fill up there. So because of this lacking of air, it means lacking of oxygen, which leads to the defect in other organs also. So first affected organ is lungs, but later on all body organs get affected, due to which a person can die also or unconscious also. So this air pollution can be very fatal, very dangerous, and we need to prevent it. So here are some examples by which this pollution can causes. So air pollutants cause injury to all living organism by smokestacks of the thermal power plants, smelters and other industries. Now these are some ways by which industries क्या करती है. सो इंडस्ट्री का जो भी वेस्ट है, लाइक इन द फॉर्म ऑफ गैसेस और द वाटर, वॉट एवर इट इज, बाय विच दे evacuate out to their industry. So if it is a gaseous form, then what they will do, they directly release some harmful gases to the environment, and these gases can cause the pollution also. So they need to prevent this, they need to stop these gases to go out, and for that they need to do some processes also. So here we'll study about the processes by which these industries can prevent these harmful gases to evacuate in the air. Okay, so now some ways of removing particulate and gaseous matter are as follows. So आपको टेक्स्ट बुक में दो टेक्निक्स दी गई है बाय विच हम ये पॉल्यूटेंट्स हैं उनको रोक सकते हैं, और देन प्योर हवा है, प्योर एयर है, उसको बाहर निकाल सकते हैं, लाइक इन द केस ऑफ इंडस्ट्रीज. ओके, सो द फर्स्ट टेक्निक इज इलेक्ट्रोस्टैटिक प्रेसिपिटेटर, and another technique is scrubber, which we'll understand later after this technique. Okay, so this is the first technique which is called electrostatic precipitator. इसके थ्रू क्या हो सकता है? So here by this way we can remove the particulate matters, it means solid, right, by this kind of this sort of instrument. Here it is a schematic diagram of that instrument, how it is work, and over 99% matter we can remove by this method, and it is used for the removing particulate matter. Now how it will works, that I'll make you understand. Okay, so here the first technique is electrostatic precipitator. Now what will happen in this case? When the dirty air pass through this instrument, through this setup, when it enters into this instrument, the dust particles, which you can see here by this dotted, here the dust particles when passes through it, Here some wire are present which are electric wires, and obviously electric means electrons are there, and because of the electrons they are negatively charged wires. So by this, when this particle enters into this chamber, this electric field, which is also called corona, here binds with this dust particles and forms one circle like structure, which we denoted here in red in color. This is discharge corona. It means electric field. So जैसे डस्ट पार्टिकल एंटर कर रहे हैं उसके आसपास क्या हो जा रहा है, सो इलेक्ट्रिक फील्ड जनरेट हो रही है. वो किसकी वजह से है, दैट इज बिकॉज ऑफ इलेक्ट्रॉन्स. ओके, सो हियर व्हाट विल हैपन, दिस डस्ट पार्टिकल आर आल्सो नेगेटिवली चार्ज्ड नाउ. ओके, देन अगेन इट विल गोज, कहाँ जाएगी आगे ये एयर, आगे बढ़ के दिस विल रीच टू दिस पार्ट. नाउ दिस पार्ट इज मेड अप ऑफ कलेक्शन प्लेट. अब ये जो भी प्लेट्स है यहाँ पे आगे जाके इंस्ट्रूमेंट में, इसमें क्या होगा, सो दिस मेटल्स, दिस पार्टिकल्स, that can be any, not only dirt, that can be metal particle also, that are some other particles also. So क्या होगा, अब ये particles है वो negatively charged हो गए because of this electrons. अब this plates will act as a anodes and cathodes also. There are both type of plates here, but when this electrons comes to there, what will do, so ये क्या करेगा, मशीन है वो, यहाँ पे this particle will bind to this plate and sedimented here, and when this air passes by it will become clean air. How it is clean air, बिकॉज जो भी पार्टिकल्स है वो यहाँ पे सेडिमेंट हो गए, जमा हो गए इधर, सो आगे जो भी एयर जा रही वो भी कैसी हो गई, क्लीन हो गई. ओके, सो यहाँ पे इस टेक्निक में द वन थिंग वी नीड टू रिमेंबर इज दिस वेलोसिटी ऑफ द एयर इज वेरी स्लो. इट मस्ट बी वेरी स्लो. व्हाई, अगर ये स्पीड में यहाँ से एयर पास हो रही है देन दैट माइट बी पॉसिबिलिटीज कि यहाँ पे पार्टिकल्स है वो सेडिमेंट नहीं होंगे, क्योंकि उनको सेडिमेंट होने के लिए कुछ टाइम चाहिए. इट रिक्वायर्स मोर टाइम, राइट. सो यहाँ से एयर जो भी पास हो वो आराम से धीरे धीरे से पास हो. दैट वन थिंग वी नीड टू रिमेंबर व्हाइल डूइंग दिस टेक्निक. ओके, सो बाय दिस कलेक्टिंग प्लेट क्या करेगी, ये अट्रैक्ट द चार्ज डस्ट पार्टिकल्स, but we need to understand that the velocity of the air between the plates must be low enough to allow the dust to fall here, to sediment here. Okay, and the air will be clean after this. So by this way, this is very simple technique, this is very simple mechanism we can say of the instrument, but by which we can get the 99% purities. So obviously it's more efficient, right, than the other techniques. But by this we can only purify the particulate matters or air which are covered by the particulate matters. But what about gases? So in this technique we cannot remove the gases or we cannot remove the gaseous particles. Here we only remove the matter particles. Okay, so for that another technique we need to use. So this is called scrubber, right? So in the case of scrubber, what we'll do, this is your next technique. The another technique is scrubber. Okay, now the second technique is scrubber. Now in this technique we can remove the gases like sulfur dioxide, which is very harmful for the health, for the human health. So that is why it needs to be removed before evaluating to the environment. So here this process mainly works on the gaseous material and especially on the sulfur dioxide. Okay, now what will happen in this process? So in a scrubber the exhaust is passed through a spray of water or lime, and recently what happens, this techniques got modified and one portion is remain for the entry of the dirty air. Okay, so now when this air enters into this chamber, here obviously air particles hai, gaseous particles hai, so they are very less in their size, so it goes up. So when it will goes up, here one another chamber, one partition is there which is a water lime spray. यहाँ पे क्या होगा, this water and lime mixture will sprinkle here. Okay, so this is the kind of sprinkling, red in color, right? So यहाँ पे उसका स्प्रे होगा, नीचे से एयर आ रही है और ऊपर से यहाँ पे ये स्प्रिंकल हो रहा है वाटर एंड लाइम मटेरियल. ओके, सो नाउ क्या होगा, बाय दिस वे हियर वन केमिकल रिएक्शन कैन अकर, है ना, कि डर्ट पार्टिकल्स हैं उसमें भी हम क्या रिमूव करना चाह रहे हैं, सल्फर डाइऑक्साइड. सो व्हेन दिस सल्फर डाइऑक्साइड गैसेस इज प्रेजेंट इन दिस एयर, दिस विल रिएक्ट विद द वाटर एंड lime and chemical reaction can occur and it can cause the calcium sulfide. This is the sort of reaction by which you can understand the process. Lime plus water and the sulfur dioxide when react, it will ultimately form the calcium sulfide, which are heavy metal, heavy particles compared to sulfur dioxide, right? So इसकी वजह से क्या हो जाएगा, यहाँ पे जैसे ये फॉर्मेशन हो रहा है कैल्शियम सल्फाइड का, उसकी वजह से वो इधर एंड में सेडिमेंट हो जाएंगे विच इज अ पार्टिकुलेट मैटर एंड द रेस्ट एयर विल गोज अप एज अ क्लीन एयर. ओके, सो दिस इज ऑल्सो अनदर सिंपल मेथड, सिंपल mechanism by which dirty air can be clean. Just we need to remember here this spray of water and lime. When it comes to lime, obviously there is presence of calcium also, carbonate also. So when this mixture, lime mixture mixed with the sulfur dioxide, it can cause the calcium sulfide. It will form the calcium sulfide, we can say, and this is the heavy matter. So obviously because of the heaviness, it will sediment lower down and here the clean air will goes up into the environment from the industrial area, right? And this is the another evacuating area where this sedimented matter can be collected here in the another chamber. Okay, so this is also another simple method and it can remove the gases like sulfur dioxide. Okay, these are the another technique, but both the techniques cannot efficiently work as 100%. Right? So what about that 1% or remaining percentages by which we cannot remove some other particles or gases which are still harmful to us? So the Central Pollution Control Board, which is CPCB, they decided that some small sized particles are very harmful to human health. This size is particulate size 2.5 micrometer or less than this in diameter are responsible for the causing the greatest harm to the human health. Now they are the particles, fine particulates can be inhaled deep into the lungs and can cause the breathing and respiratory symptoms. कैसे symptoms? So like irritation, inflammations and damages to the lungs, and it can cause premature deaths also. Why it can cause such a huge effect? Because they are very small in the size, and because of their size they can enter into our body very easily, as we have natural barriers in our body that prevent the other materials, other foreign particles to enter into our body. But these are very small in size because 2.5 micrometer or less than this. So it's difficult for our body cell to recognize them and to stop them. And when they start stopping it, it might be possibilities that half of them can goes into our body and half of can stop there, right? But what about this half which are already entered in our body? So they can cause a very serious damage to our health, especially our respiratory system. And after the respiratory system damages, as oxygen lacks into our body, so other organs also get affected. So here is also some ratios, you need to remember this, and by which the government, the institutions or the pollution boards which are working on this, that what we can do to prevent these small sized particles to remove into the air and to get minimum pollution of the air. Not only air, but we need to remember about the land and water pollution also, because every pollution is harmful to us as we are using all the natural resources like air, land, water, everything. So this can be removed from all over the resources, not only the air.